Is he gonna do the intro or is all right, all right. Good evening in the United States and good morning in Philippines, right? It's us again, me and Jack this week. Right, welcome, welcome, welcome to the SuperVA show again. Today, we wanted to talk to you about the top 10 common sense that you cannot miss in the virtual assistant industry. And the truth is, we actually have about 30 of them, and we put them into a document. And at the end of the call today, we will share that link with you so now we can download all that. So if you are a virtual assistant, you're like, well, what is common sense? And you don't have those common sense, well, stay tuned, right? Because we're going to be sharing with you at least the top 10. And then after, we're going to share with you the rest of them, through a worksheet. And, why am I sharing this with you? I actually just came back from another coaching call. And this is a little bit of spiritual coaching call. And she said, you're very grounded and you're very connected to the people that you're helping right now. Because once upon a time in one of my past life, right, I quote unquote, I am a Filipino virtual assistant. So I understand, what is your limiting belief? What are the things that you are having a hard time with? And that's why this life, I'm very connected with you and I have all this compassion with you that I wanted to help you out as much as I can, which I totally agree with her when she said that, because for some reason, I just wanted to help you, even though you're across overseas, right? And it does help that I do have a Filipino nanny, a couple of them that raised me too, right? So it's kind of like paying forward. I have Monique who have helped me throughout my career that make my life so much easier, and obviously many more virtual assistant that has grown together with me in my path. And one of the biggest thing that we always talk about is common sense. Like, because sometimes I know a lot of you guys are already a virtual assistant and you're like, well, my boss kind of let me go or get frustrated with me because they say that I don't have the common sense. And I agree, you don't have the common sense. Why? Because you are not grown up in United States. You are not a US citizen. You are not a business owner. How can you have their common sense, right? How can you have their common sense? And we actually literally have this training last when this last Wednesday, about common sense. And we talk about a lot of things that, between like me, even though I'm a Malaysian, right? And I'm a Chinese, and you Filipino, right? The differences, culturally, there's a huge difference too. That's why, it's very different between us and you, right? And, so for example, I think I should say, for example, rice, it's a staple for people internationally, but as all of you guys know, Japanese rice, Thai rice, right, jasmine rice, right, your rice. If somebody can type in like what is the rice that you eat, I think Jack, do you know this? Remember we went to the grocery store, we saw that rice. It's starting with an S. Um,
I think
you know,
that's like Sinandoming or something,
yeah,
or
yeah.
yeah, I think that's I don't know the names as well.
Come on, Jack, you're from Philippines. Come on, man. so so the reason why I'm getting you to get into this call is because a lot of you either got a job, right, and got fired because you don't have common sense, or a lot of you haven't get a job yet because quote unquote you don't have the common sense to get through that door. So again, today we're going to be sharing with you the top 10, and then we're going to be stacking it up, right? Which one is it's the most important, right? And and I'm going to be sharing with you my perspective, and then Jack is going to be sharing his perspective as a virtual assistant, why this is so important too. Okay, so stay tuned, right? And make sure that you can write it down, or if obviously you can play, hit the replay button and replay this whole video again. But I would strongly suggest you to hear it over and over and over again, right? Until you get all these 10 into your blood. Am I right? So the very first one, right, is always show up on time, right? If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're obviously late, right? So, um, yeah, so always show up on time. That what we're trying to say is, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. Why? Especially at the very beginning when you're working with your clients, it builds trust. It builds the trust that, hey, I can trust you. Because if 5 minutes ahead of time, it gives you plenty enough time to start your computer, get everything ready, and then you can go to the bathroom, you can go get your drink, because then you know that your tech is working, right? But if it is not, at least you can let your client know, hey, something is not working out, please wait for me, right? And trust me, because I have ingrained this into the culture in my company, every time, when we are on time, if somebody's missing, we usually know that they have issues and they're not doing it purposely because they always show up at least 5 minutes ahead of time. Okay. And, for you, Jack, what do you see that, why always show up on time is a really good thing?
What I think about always showing on time and even beyond that, right, boss? Here in the company, 5 minutes before is normal time. And basically, if you are arriving on time, that is considered as late already. I think that's amazing because if something comes up, especially here in the virtual world, right? Like say you have power interruption or you have internet problems, or maybe something in your computer is not loading. When you arrive just on time, you're late. You cannot fix it anymore, right? Like if you're gonna have a live stream like this, if you come in on time and something is wrong, cannot fix it anymore. So arriving at least 5 minutes before, right, is an awesome thing. Something comes up, you still have the time to adjust. And it's just an overall great thing because it kills out, say, your anxiety, your worry, and whatnot, because you're going to be coming in and you're going to be sure that, hey, I'm not going to be late. I'm not going to be the last one coming in. So being on time or early is a very good discipline, especially when it comes to, as everybody knows, right? When it comes to work, it's a very good discipline that you're coming in before your say clock in time. The earlier you can, that's better. It shows a lot of character on your side. Correct me if I'm wrong, for our viewers here, Japanese culture is like 30 minutes before them clocking in, they are already there at work. They're doing their stretching, they're doing their jumping jacks, they're doing everything 30 minutes before. To imbibe that culture is just something really amazing and a great character to have. So for us here in the company, like what boss said, yeah, before anything, everybody's gonna be there 5 minutes before the start. Otherwise, we know something might be an issue. Yeah.
Yes. And again, when you're always showing up on time, you actually build that trust without speaking about it. You actually showing that, you're a trustworthy person, right? Because you always show up on time and I don't have to worry about you. Because the number one thing that as a business owner is we really do not want to babysit anyone, right? Because for you, right, this is my number one thing that I always share with my team, right? I ensure, right, that I pay you on time, pay you 100%. So in return, right, you should be always on time and you should be 100% committed to me while you are clocking into my work. So, always think about that, back in your mind, because that is something that, every single business owner is holding them to, right? And at the same time, that's what we are expecting out of you. Okay. So, number two, okay, the number two, it's very important. Most business owner doesn't do it. Most virtual assistant doesn't do it. Most VA industry doesn't really share it as much, but it's very important. Is called time blocking. Okay, it's called time blocking. So what does that really mean? Time blocking means that you most likely it's going to work 8 hours or 10 hours, right, in a day, right, a shift, or maybe 4 hours because you're part-time. So what you want to do is you wanted to either get a spreadsheet, or your calendar, and you literally put down, okay, that's an 8 hour shift that you have, and then you start filling in what you need to do. So that if the client is telling you, okay, you need to check emails 3 times a day, right, you put that on the top, in the middle, at the end, right? And you block the time away from it, right? And if you need to do like video editing and take you 3 hours, then you put the 3 hour block into it, right? And then maybe you need to meet with the client 3 more hours, you block the time into it. So the total is 8 hours. And what we do is in the very beginning of the day, they always, I always ask the VA to screenshot it, send it in so we can see, right? What are you planning to do for this whole day, right? And then at night, we also ask all the virtual assistant to screenshot what they have done for the day, right? The modification of the time blocking to us. So now we can again see what they actually have done, right? And what is the difference between the plan and the completed, right? What is the differences, right? Because then we can really talk about the micro, like what is the, what is something that we misunderstood each other or something. And the number one thing about this piece too is, trust me, as a business owner, we always want to give you more things that your time can allow to do. Most of you guys, sometimes we have people that quit, on the first 2 days because they're overwhelmed. I just want you to remember, they hire you for 8 hours. So what you're doing is you want to be responsible for that 8 hours. If there's more jobs, even better, because then you have more things to do in the following days, months, and years, right? But the key is that if you have the 8 hours and the client give you more tasks, what you want to do is say, boss, look at my schedule. I have already filled out my 8 hours. So what do you want me to do? You want me to work overtime? Or do you want me to push it to tomorrow? Or do you want me to remove something from today, push it to tomorrow, and then shove this in today? So in that way, it's a lot easier for you to communicate with them, because a lot of time, I used to be an EA for my husband, and my husband asked me, what did you do today? I said, I don't know. I'm very busy. I didn't eat my lunch, but what did I do? I can't remember. I was dealing with a lot of stuff. And in his mind, it's like, I think you didn't do anything because you couldn't even bring up what stuff did you do. You get what I'm saying? That's why time blocking is so important, because it's almost like on paper, and then the owner can visualize it, and you can also visualize it. Also, improvement. A lot of time, like with the video editor, when they first come in, a video may take them 3 to 4 hours, and at the end, it might take them only 1 to 2 hours because they already got the rhythm. And you can see that, like you're changing it based on every time blocking that you do. So in the way you can also track your improvement. And Jack, what do you think in your perspective, right? Time blocking, is that a good thing for you? Is it a bad thing for you? Was it hard for you at the very beginning to make it happen?
Time blocking for me, boss, at the start, I was like, I want to do this more and more. And the reason being, guys, right, like it or not, we can be so busy at work, and at the same time we have a lot of responsibilities outside of work. And when we have a lot of responsibilities outside of work, sometimes these things tend to get mixed up. Now when they are mixed up, like it or not, given that nobody's perfect, and yeah, sometimes might not be, say, a so perfect day, we would then tend to forget things. So how is time block amazing? Well, basically, you could plan your day per se, have a mental view, and you could easily say at a glance, like, okay, say in the 3 hours first half of the day, this is what's gonna happen. The next hours like this, and at the end of the day, it's gonna be like that. So it's just like you have one solid mental view at which will aid you in your focus. Number one. And number two, it also helps you to track things easily, going on through the day, and ultimately doubles like your end of day report as well, that you could share to your client, that you yourself could track personally, like, okay, how much am I improving, the past days with the same task? How much have I actually got to do the past days? Because yeah, all these things, the small details we get to forget, but all of them are like very nice details that you could present to yourself and to your client too. And like what boss was saying a while ago, it also helps a lot when there are a lot of tasks given to you. Like for example, you were given 1,000 tasks, like yay, blessings, these are blessings. But how to fit this in one week, and you might be like pulling out your hair, how, right? Then you do your time blocking, and then from the time blocking, you then present it, say, to your client, right? Like, hi, there's a lot of amazing things that I want to do here, but this is the current load of the day. I would want to add it, but it's full. What else could we move, maybe, so we can accommodate these other amazing things? So time blocking, there's a lot of wonders it can do, but my personal favorite there is like, it helps a lot to ease the mind, because I'm not, like, hey, did I forget something, and then now I'm gonna be anxious or something. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And again, the truth is, our whole company is run by our calendars. And so, in that way, I can also easily figure out, okay, are you working on something right now? If you have a block of emptiness, I can also fill in some other stuff for you to do. It's just so easy on communication wise, especially you, Filipino VAs, right? Or virtual assistant, you tend to be more shy. And this is just a way for you to communicate with other client. And so number three, right? Number three, are you ready for number three? This is a little ugly one, but I want you to stay tuned and really listen to this. Okay, number three is micromanaging is actually a beautiful word, right? Micromanaging is a great practice to strengthen and better your relationship with your client. I mean, imagine, right? When the first time you teach your kids how to fry an egg, right, or how to cook rice, Do you just say, hey, here's a pan, here's the oil, turn on the heat and just start frying the eggs? You won't, right? You really won't. You will be like, okay, hold on, right? First thing first is, let's put the pan on the stove, right? Second thing is you turn on the stove. Okay, not too hard, not too strong, right? Make it a little bit middle, because if not, it's gonna be, the oil later will be too hot, right? And then afterward, you put the oil in, right? And with the for the oil to be a little bit more warm, then you crack the eggs in, right? But be careful, right? Don't get the shell into the eggs, right? And then afterwards, make sure that you get what is that called, spatula, right? To pick up the egg, right? And then, hey, be careful, your hand, don't get too close to the stove, because it's gonna burn you, right? And you can see, okay, it's almost cooked now, right? If you want sunny side up egg, you want to do it this way, right? And then maybe flip it a little bit, and then you put it back to the stove and pull it into the plate, and then make sure you turn off the stove. But when you teach your kids a very first time, right, you give them step by step. And then when your kid is doing it for the first time, right, without you helping them, you will be literally there watching every step that they do, right? Okay, I'm not going to say anything this time. You're going to do everything yourself. Okay, mom, is it the first time? Turn on the stove? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Put the pans on? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Why do I say this? A lot of, virtual assistant, when we talk about it, they're like, oh man, I don't need to be micromanaged, right? Like, I'm hardworking. I'm good, right? Why do you need to micromanage me? But the truth is that it's kind of like dating, or, you have a boyfriend that just moved into your home. Like, you need to really talk through every little detail. Do you want the toilet seat to be up or down, right? So what does that mean? Like, because I am from United States. I grew up in another country, right? You grew up in Philippines. You have never been to United States. You have never been to, you don't really know the culture. You most likely work in the BPO industry, where you work at a big corporation. You never see the boss before. How do you know what they want? And that's why there's a lot of miscommunication, because you're like, oh, I don't need to be micromanaged. But again, micromanaging is not saying that you're not working, you're lazy. Micromanaging just means that we need to really talk to each other, figure out the rhythm. How do I like to get things done? Build the trust, build the communication consistently, until later on, I promise you, as long as you gain the trust from your client will not want to micromanage you anymore, because now we know each other and we have the rhythm. Like Monique, I don't, Monique has been with me for 11 years. I have no clue what she do most of the time. I just know that she's busy and I trust her, so I don't check up on her, right? And I have quite a few of them that at the very beginning, every hour, update. What you're doing, what are you learning, what is your notes, right? Because I need to read them, I need to understand where they're at. But then afterwards, when we gain the trust already, then we can let go, right? But again, you wanted to be like, boss, what do you want me to do right now? Boss, I just got this done. What do you want me to do next? Okay, boss, I got this. Boss, I just learned this thing. What do you think about this? Because the more that you communicate, the more that they feel trusted, right? They can trust you. And then the more that they will relax. Because the number one complaint that we hear from clients always is, the VA don't talk to me. I don't know whether they're working or not. I'm not sure what they're doing. And then the worst thing is, I feel bad asking them, because I'm worried that they're gonna think that I'm questioning them, which is true. I'm questioning you because you're not telling anything. But a lot of business owner will be like this, and at the end it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna do everything myself. And at the end, just like, I don't think I need a VA anymore, because the VA didn't help me with anything. It was a crazy cycle all the time that was just looping. And I was like, man, you need to communicate with them. Okay. Well, Jack, your turn.
All right. So for micromanaging, yeah, wherever I have been, the past times before, a lot of people would say like, well, I don't want to be micromanaged. And probably it's like a preconceived notion that somebody's always, like behind your back and, just breathing down your neck. But basically, when you look at things properly, it's not a bad thing at all. Why? Let me ask you this, for all our viewers and listeners here, right? If you want to master something, how would you do it? You have to really be very articulate with things, and the only way to be able to do that and to go to mastery per se, especially if it's something new for you, you would want somebody guiding you, watching you step by step. Like what boss said, you have a kid. You're not going to be like, okay, go to the kitchen and I don't know, cook your own fried chicken, right? You have to guide them, and you have to check on everything there. So micromanaging is actually not somebody breathing down your neck, but for us, for you to realize that, hey, actually somebody's willing here to guide me and check everything I do. And yeah, lo and behold, sooner or later, when you get the mastery level, of whatever you're doing, like what boss said, they're just gonna let you be, because now you can do everything by yourself. Yeah. Micromanaging is not there to put chains on your neck or whatsoever, but it is there to build you up so that you can perform at a mastery level, that you can be left fully in charge. Now, how you do one thing is how you're gonna do everything. If you have a mentality of like, I want to strive for mastery, you would want somebody sticking close with you and teaching you every step of the way. Micromanaging change the mind. It's an amazing thing.
I know, I totally agree. And when I explained it to everybody else, they're like, "Oh, okay, that make a lot of sense, right?" And I love what James also said, right? Micromanaging is important to embrace before the client entrusts you with bigger rule, right? Because ultimately everything is built on trust. Okay. And my office staff is like, "Hey, you have to hurry up. If not, you're gonna run out, your 1 hour again, right?" So I'm gonna hurry, speed it up a little bit, right? So number 4, okay, you ready? Number 4 is treat other people how you like to be treated. Is treat other people how you like to be treated. I think that this is such a great line item for you to really think about it. If I don't like that my nanny is late to, to take care of my kids, I don't be late, right? If I don't like that my nanny forget to cook my kids food, right? I cook, I shouldn't be forgetful with work, right? Like, you just want to really think about it. Well, would I appreciate what other people do? Sometimes we notice too, like, not in our industry, not in our community, which I really appreciated, but sometimes we notice that in the outside industry, in the VA world, like VA will tend to just MIA, like they just don't show up, and they don't tell the client what to, what happened. And it's like, man, like, treat other people how you want to be treated. If you have a nanny that's coming through, a cleaner coming through your home, would you want to wait for them and at the end find out that they don't show up and they don't say anything, right? And ultimately, I just want you to remember, right? Just if you want to do something, ask first, right? Would that feel good or not, right? If that's not going to feel good for me, if I do it to me, then don't do it to other people. That is a golden rule for sure. Jack?
Yep, totally agree there. How you want to be treated as a person, as an individual, may it be outside of work or inside of work, right? You got to think like, if I were the one, to receive or to be the recipient of the things I'm doing, would I actually be happy with it, right? Would I be happy if I'm going to be late? Would I be happy if I'm not asking questions? Would I be happy if I'm going to do something that might burn the company, So the answer is not. Yeah. So we got to, have that sense, that basic sense of like, in everything that I do, at the very least, I should be always thinking about, say my client or my boss. If I do this, will this help, in building up things, or will this destroy things, right? Would this be actually decent at the very least? Yeah, keeping that in mind. If you were in the shoes of other people, yeah, that would be the recipient of the things you're doing, would you actually want that? Yeah, and if the answer is not, that's a wake up call. Okay, I gotta better things a bit, and have, say, a higher class, of conducting myself, because why not? Life is a lot better when we treat other people a lot better as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the reason why, Jack is one of the top VA that we have, right? That's why he put down, he's a super VA. I never have to worry about him, whether he show up on time or not. He's always speaking up. He's always doing everything that, 150%. So, again, Jack is definitely one of the model if you want to model after success. So again, point number 5. Okay, you ready? Point number 5 is always update and keep in touch with your client, rain or shine. We're going to add quite a few, communication tools in here, right? Common sense is you always wanted to update and keep in touch with your client, rain or shine. The key is that sometimes the VA is like, wow, my client doesn't communicate with me. Well, I want you to shift that mindset. It always starts with you. If you want your client to communicate with you, you communicate with them first, right? If you want them to be nice to you, nice to with them first, right? If you want them to be light, right, and have like jokes with you, joke with them first, right? So it doesn't have to be starting with the client; it start with you, and it is really your job to ensure that you communicate with them. It's their job to pay you, but it's your job to fully fulfill and communicate and always ask, because if you update them and for some reason, like a GPS, right, instead of supposing going to the left, but somehow you miss the turn, you go to the right. But when you're updating them, you give them a chance and say, hey, wait, it's not going to the left, it's supposed to go to the right, so go right or make a U-turn right now. Because trust me, I have so many stories to share with you. My personal story where I get a VA to do my video and I thought she knew because I didn't ask her to update me at the very beginning when I was, starting my career. 6 hours into it, I found out that she totally screwed up six of my videos and edited totally wrong. And then now the question is, should I pay her for that 6 hours that she spent for not having a result for me? At the end, I was nice. I paid her for it, right? Because she did spend 6 hours, even though it's not what I'm looking for, right? But the question too is how many 6 hours that I will willing to pay for no result? Am I right? So let's remove that problem, right? By always communicating with them. If you're brand new, hourly update is always best, because then if you are too screwed up, at least they could pull you right back and say, hey, that's not what I'm looking for. Let's move, let's shift, let's do whatever. All right, Jack, your turn.
All right. So keeping update and always keeping, your client updated, keeping in touch with them, rain or shine, whatever it may be. How I see it, it's like when you do this, you give a sense of peace and security. And just to add on, to what boss was saying earlier there, in our surroundings, wherever we may be, right? We are the ones that can influence things. We do influence our surroundings and we foster the norm in our surroundings. And also, we are the ones that make, say, whatever atmosphere might be there. So if you're always updating, you're always keeping in touch. Heck, even if you're going to say, boss, I need to go to the toilet, my tummy's rumbling so bad, right? Even if it's just that, there's just a sense of peace and it feels like at home and basically everything is seemingly like in place. Yeah, if your client is seemingly asking like, hey, what's up, how is it doing, and this and that, maybe you're not communicating enough, you're not updating. Because once again, right, in the perspective, if you were in their shoes, if you are running your own business, would you not want updates every now and then, even if it's just one an hour? Of course you would want to know, right? So keep in touch, build security, build peace, heck, build relationship even with your client. Yeah, because why not? That's the purpose why you are there. And most definitely, please guys, for the listeners, don't get fired just because you're not giving updates. Okay, don't get fired just because of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And James is actually in our community, and he said, no better way to say this, on point, because James right now is actually a manager that manage, a department. And man, ask him, right? I bet he can agree with me that sometimes he's like, why can't they just communicate with me, right? I'm always with them, right? Tell me what's going on so that I can fix it for you, right? So, and also, like what Mochi say, right? It always starts with you. Yes, it always start with you, right? Always communicate with your clients. Yes, because what is a better way to build trust with your client, right? Just communicate. Communication is really the key. My EA, Grace, that you saw last week, right? It's all about communication, and sometimes she will actually communicate with me and say, boss, you would jokingly say something just now. I feel like it was a joke, but is it a joke or not? I was like, oh yeah, sorry, it totally was a joke, right? But if she doesn't ask me and she thought that I meant it, then she might quit the next week because she might think that, man, this comment is really harsh, right? That's why like in your Filipino, what do you guys always call it? Just joking, like what, charat,
Yeah, I think yeah,
right?
that's the one.
And then Rodi say, sample of the power of good communication. I was in an island and power issue happened. Rachel was so nice. She told me that I can skip Zoom and continue to work on the task. More power to Rach. Absolutely, right? So Char. Yep, Char is the one. All right. So we're going to get to point number 6. Always have a backup and get everything covered and secure yourself. Well, the good news about a virtual assistant right now is that you do not have to go to work, right? You don't have to physically go to an office to work. You actually can save makeup. You can even save your clothes, right? You can even save food. So the two things that you really do not save, more than two things actually, but the main two things that you really do not want to save money on is the internet backup and the power backup. Internet backup and power backup. Because especially if you're the only virtual assistant that your client is using, they are really counting on you. They are really relying on you. When you are gone, they feel the pain, right? When you are gone, they feel the pain. So it will be very responsible for you to always have internet backup. Again, it's pretty cheap, right? You can use your phone backup, right? You say power We have a lot of people that actually have. We'll share a video on how to do this power backup in a cheap way, which is get a car battery and then with a power supply and you plug it in. We'll get my team to do something for you so that we can put it up for you guys to see it. But yeah, it was really easy. But ultimately, those two, it should be always, always, always. You should always have those, because if not, sometime ultimately, again, you are the representation for Filipino VAs. If somebody have a bad experience with a Filipino VA, then it will affect the rest of the VA, right? Because they're like, oh man, Filipino are not reliable, so don't hire them, right? How many of you guys have heard that? And then ultimately, it actually kills some of the job, right? So ultimately, again, if you are a good, responsible virtual assistant, you should have the common sense that get a backup, right? Internet backup and get a power backup. Jack, anything you want to say on this one? You can choose to skip it too if you want.
Oh, most definitely, boss. Have a lot to say with this, guys. We may be working in the virtual world, but like it or not, we still have to have backups. And like what boss mentioned there, internet number one. This is like I say the bread and butter of how at least 50% of how we can work online. We have to have good internet, and basically, if you have no internet, then you have no work. Yeah, you might not be able to work and get fired next day. So please, don't skimp on these basics and not just say the obvious things like your internet, like your power source, but also like with the work you do, always strive to have backups, right? Like you have one critical file there, you have one important meeting list there, meeting details, and you only have one piece. What if you have a virus attack? What if your computer gets messed up with some update, right? Now you have one file, I mean, it's gone, right? So always have this mindset and mentality of having a backup. Put it in Google Drive, make something in your pen drive, right? And your basics, keep everything secured, so no matter what happens, you get to keep the job that you love, right? The job that you just have, you can enjoy being at home. Secure everything, you get everything covered.
Oh, I really love what Jack just said, right? Totally, wasn't in my mind at all, right? Yeah, just like what Jack said, right? Always get a backup. Google Drive is definitely a good backup, right? In case if your computer gets shut down, virus attack, you always have the backup for all the files. But better yet, get your clients to get a like a iCloud, Google Drive folder, right? So that you can save everything in their drive. So if something really happened, they actually have a copy of it. If you got sick, right, they have a copy of it. All right. So number six. Okay. Number six. I think we're catching up with time. I'm sorry. Number seven. Number seven. Number seven is write everything down. Okay. It's write down everything. Why is that important? Well, once upon a time, I have an amazing VA. Obviously, her name is AKA Monique, right? She told me, boss, I remember everything. I don't have to write down anything at all. I said, man, I challenge you, because sooner or later, right? Maybe not today, but sooner or later, you are not going to be able to remember everything, right? And at that time, we're talking about customers and database. And then when we get to like 500 to 1,000 clients, she don't remember anymore, right? What's the name? What do they need? What do they want, right? And the today DNA, we are running through so much, information and knowledge. That's why you always wanted to keep, either what the number one thing is, always get the call recorded. Okay, always get the call recorded, and then always write down everything, right? Or if not, you copy and paste a transcription, and then you give your clients to see, hey, this is what's going on. Better yet, run it through ChatGPT and ask some questions. Say, what do I need to do with this, right? How can I do this? Is there anything that I need to understand from this? Can you give me a summary of this note, right? What are some of the to-dos that we can have, right? But the key is write down everything. And also, your client most likely is a forgetful person. They might not be forgetful, but they do definitely have a lot in their head. Sometimes they will forget what they promised you or what they thought of ahead of time. So what you want to do is always write it down, right? Always, like if they give you something that give you a permission for something, always write it down, so that, and then send it to them, so that if something happened, you can screenshot it and say, boss, look, you have approved me on this thing, right? If not, what would happen? Man, I didn't approve you for this holiday. No, boss, you did. No, I didn't. Yeah, no, yes, you did. Well, show me the proof. Well, I don't have a proof. Oops, too bad. Get back to work. Am I right? So again, it's very important that you want to make sure that you write everything down. One is for you, right, to keep in mind. Two is obviously you can create SOP. And three is if something really come into like he said, she said, who is right, you can always screenshot it and share it with your client. All right, Jack, your turn.
Yes, write down everything. Gosh, if only I could share my time block here. If you zoom out Microsoft Note about to 20%, you will still see not see enough of my time block because I want to be very detailed with things. And yes, when you write down everything, it actually sharpens your mind. And one personal favorite of mine is that it sharpens your mind, and at the same time, you are at least 99.9% sure that you won't miss anything. And on top of that, guys, nowadays we have AI. So, there's like no reason really that you would not be able to say, write down everything. And yeah, like what boss mentioned there, at times always record the meeting too, because maybe, yeah, they're talking too fast. There's so many things happening at the same time. Go get some AI helper to write down the notes for you. Keep every notes, keep everything important detail, keep it as your notes, right? Don't miss anything so that when next meeting happens, your boss forgets like, hey, I granted you some leave, and then they forgot you got it down on notes. You got everything secured. Always write down everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. And here on the chat, right, we see that, always black and white, right? Again, it's very important. It's always black and white, right? If not, if you do not write it down, always record it on Loom, right? So that way you can show the video. Christian say, take note like crazy, right? Mochi say always have receipt, right? Tutler pre-love item say proper documentation will help save your ASS in the future, right? Take note equals to engagement and memory. Writing down will definitely sharpen your mind. I love writing down the notes. Also, on top of that, is that after you write down the notes, you can share with your client and say, "Hey, can you read my notes? And do we have any misunderstanding, or do we understand each other perfectly?" I love to read people's note at the very beginning because then I can see, are they really on the same page with me? And all my highlights I really highlighted during the call, have they noticed that those are highlights, or they did not realize that they were highlight at all? Okay, so number 8. So these are the last 3 are the best that I love. Okay, the last 3 are the best that I love. So stay tuned with that, right? Keep your ears perk up, right? So number 8 is the power of follow up. Okay, it's the power of follow up. It is, not a one time thing. A lot of VAs is like this. Oh, I told my I told my clients already. I don't want to bother them again. Right? I told my clients already, but you only tell them one time. Do you know how long does it take me to go open up a bank account? 36 times. My VA reminded me 36 times and put at least booking in my calendar for at least 5 times before I get it done. It is usually your responsibility, especially if you are an EA, to follow up with them until it is completed, right? If you're a customer service representative, you have a sales representative, again, it is your power to follow up. You're right, the power is always in the follow up. The money is always in the follow up. You will only stop following up unless the client say, I'm done, or the task is completed. If not, it will be on you to ensure that you keep telling them, boss, I know, another reminder, right? Hey, hello, hey, is it, hey, I already reminded you about this for 5 times. Do you want me to remind you again? Right? Is it important? Yes, 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 it's important, like, let's do that again, right? And I just like what Mochi already picked up my line, right? The money is always in the follow-up. And because you follow up, you ensure that the tasks are done, right? Then the client is making money. Then who's going to get a raise? Well, AKA that is you, right? You will be obviously making money for the raise, right? All right, Jack, you're up.
All right. On my side, on my perspective, if you are the one, say, doing the task or something, you need to do something, you have to have that ability, you have to have that attitude of following up, not like a one time thing, but follow up again and again, even if it takes 50 times or maybe 100 times for some of you, right? Just do it. Why? Because not only will it get or ensure that the task will be done, especially if it is critical, but it will also alleviate, kill, and remove a lot of stress off of your shoulders. Because, like, you say one thing to your client, and then you're waiting like 1 hour, nothing, 2 hours, 6 hours, nothing, and then 2 days, nothing. And then now you're like, am I going to get fired or something? I want to do this, but I cannot move on. Right? Follow up until you get a response, because that's the ultimate goal there. Your goal is to not be stressed out. Your goal is to get things done, right? So give them the ball, pass them the ball. Hi, this and that, ABC. Okay, what are we going to do next? Until you get a reply so that everything moves forward, everybody happy. So always follow up.
Yes, absolutely. Again, I can't say it enough that the money is in the follow up, because as a virtual assistant, right? Would it be okay? Let me ask you this question and type it down below whether it's okay or not, right? Would it be okay if I tell you, hey, VA, right? My super VA, I know you work for me 40 hours, right? You work really hard, but man, I tried to pay you and I got distracted and I forgot to follow up with the bank and I forgot to pay you your pay this week. Would that be okay with that? Because I failed to follow up and thus I didn't pay you on time. Would that be okay for you? Hopefully somebody will answer. While we're waiting for that, I'm gonna go over to right number 9. But I know the answer. Obviously, it is no. It's not okay, right? Because all my VAs always say, "No, it's not okay, boss. You have to pay me on time." Trust me. Whenever we do not pay on time, we'll hear a list of complaints like, "Where is my money? Where's my money? Where's my money?" Right? And then for us, it's like, "Where's our task? Where's our task? Where's our follow up? How come you didn't get me take care of me so that we can get all these things done?" It's the same exact thing. So again, treat other people how you want to be treated, right? Think about it, right? And always write it down, always follow up, right? So number 9. Okay, number 9. I know we're gonna finish it early today. Right? Number 9, huge, huge, huge one. It's celebrate your win. What did I say? Celebrate your win. What did I say? Celebrate your win. Why do I say this? Because people don't know what they don't know. You might be helping your client to do a lot of things right now. You might be automating a lot of things in the background, right? Our life got a lot easier. However, sometimes we tend to forget because the convenience that you create, it's kind of like, if you're a husband or a wife, right? And you work, and then when you come home, the food is always on the table. The food is always on the table. Sometimes you tend to forget that it takes a lot of work to cook a meal, right? You have to, go to the store, buy the food, bring it home, clean it, right? Cut it, right? Prepare it, and then cook it, right? And afterward, you still have to clean all the rest of the dishes, right? Sometimes we tend to forget that, hey, as a wife, right? Or as a house husband, right? You have, it takes them work to clean those dishes, right? To cook that food. Or like clothes, right? Sometimes we take it for granted that, man, the laundry was easily to be done because it's like it's always on the shelf, right? Like if you're a mom that is doing the laundry. But the truth is it takes time, right? So you wanted to celebrate your win. Like, boss, today I got these 3 amazing things done, right? Oh my God, I celebrate. I learned how to use Asana in a totally different level, right? Oh my goodness, boss, like, congratulations. We did 3 sales today, right? Oh my goodness, boss, like I want to celebrate you because, you drink 5 cups of water today, right? Oh my goodness, boss, I wanted to celebrate myself because I managed to do something new that I've never done before. Why would we do that? Because then it highlights, right, what you have learned, what you have improved, and what is your worth, right? What's your worth? Because sometimes, a lot of time, I will forget. I was like, what did this guy do? Like, what's the value of this person in my company? There's no wins. They're just there. I think I can just fire them. You get what I'm saying? Until you really like look into it. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, really? Like they do this? Oh, really? They do that? Oh, really? They do that? Like we don't know about all that because sometimes after you automate some stuff, we tend to forget that you are actually the one that's doing the back end, ensuring that everything's run well, right? So again, always celebrate your win. Take a chance, right? In the morning, celebrate your win, and night celebrate your wins, right? And also, this habit is really, really good because you're also giving a positive manifestation to the world, to the universe, to tell them that, hey, I have been winning and I want more wins. Okay, because the more that you manifesting the wins, right? The more that you celebrate the wins, the more that you highlight the wins, you're gonna get more wins. That is just the law of attraction, right? And Grace say, small or big is a win. Yes, if you have nothing to share, right, celebrate about, celebrating that you are still alive, right? You're breathing above ground, right? And Rachel said, Christian say a win is a win. Maybe it be cute like me, or a bit or big like Jack. That's cute. Mochi say appreciate even the little wins that you have. Celebrating them with will help remembering you did great no matter how small or big they are. Right? James said I would definitely buy myself a cold scoop of ice cream today to end the week of awesome work and catching up with Phyllis's team? Absolutely, right? And just like what Machi said too, right? Law of attraction, right? And Rodi also say, this is thank you for this life changing experience, boss. Biggest win for this quarter for sure. All right. So Jack, your turn on this celebrating your wins. Have you celebrated your wins before you start with us?
Oh, good question, boss. Good question, guys. For those that don't know, yeah, back then my norm in my job. Maybe some people out there, some of our listeners would kind of get a whiff where I came from, but my norm back then was every day, literally just the base, not yet the tasks, just the base. I have to have a mindset and a mentality that I have to find out what might go wrong and what things are wrong every day, every single minute. Because, like, one mistake could be very costly, and that could be the end of me and everybody around me. So, that was the mentality for many years. Imagine that, finding out what is wrong and what can go wrong, finding the negatives per se when you're outside of work. And, when I came here, in the company, wins, celebrating the wins. For some of you, you might say, like, it kind of sounds cheesy, this and that. But let me tell you why it's very special. It's because of this. Our minds, if I ask you now, like, what are the things that went wrong, last 5 days in your life? Yeah. Give me five things that went wrong, five things that annoyed you. You might remember more than five things even. It's that easy for our mind. That's how we are so used to, being, say, negative all the time, and it's hard to remember the wins. And being negative all the time doesn't do anything good. You might feel sick even. You're always stressed out. You're always, like, everything is not so good. But with celebrating the wins, you're actually, and this is what you're doing actually, you are remembering and you're counting your blessings and you're exercising gratefulness. And a life with gratefulness, you can expect more blessings coming in because you appreciate it. And mind you, big or small. And also, like, doesn't matter what it is because your wins, right? Your wins are triumphs in life. By no means that these are just things that you brush to the side, but these are triumphs and you should cherish them, right? You should acknowledge them. So celebrate your wins, change your mind, change your story, and change your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you have kids out there, right, when you start celebrating your wins, pick up all the small little thing that you appreciate in life, your kids will appreciate you too. Oh, mommy, today you cook this amazing thing. I just love you, right? Today I went outside. Mommy, they're like, mommy, I love you forever and ever. You're such an amazing mommy. You bought me this, that, whatever, right? And you got me this, right? I just love you so much. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cute, right? And who wouldn't want your kid to celebrate with you, right? But again, where does it start? It starts from you. Okay, start from you. Very important. All right, the number 10. Are you ready for the number 10? The number 10 is like the best juice. The best juice. Okay, you ready? If you're ready, you better tell me that you're ready, right? So, number 10 is be the best relationship builder. Be the best relationship builder. Everything that we share with you today is also a form of you building relationship with your client. You want to be the best relationship builder. Turn your client to be your friend. Okay, turn your clients to be your friends. Why? Um, do you prefer to do business with a sales representative, or do you prefer to do business with your friends who happen to be in sales? Right? And when you friends got late to an appointment to meet with you, are you going to be okay? Or would you be upset with a sales representative that's supposed to meet with you at 10 and show at 10:15? The way that we react to people are very different between a friend and an associate. Am I right? That's one biggest thing that I have learned when I was, I used to go door to door. I'm really bad at building relationship. I'm an introvert. I don't know how to sell, right? And I couldn't get a job. Believe me or not, like Phyllis, me today, right? 20 years ago, I interviewed for like a month or two, a good month or two, and I couldn't get a job because I couldn't really communicate with people. And I don't know why. And then I realized that, going through door to door, knocking on doors, I realized that in order for me to close someone, right, I need to make sure that they like, they feel like and trust me, right? Is it like trust, something like that, right? Um, and the key is that I need to turn them into my friends. I need to turn them into my friends first. A lot of Filipino, the first thing you do, right, when you're doing interview, you say, hi ma'am, right? Hi sir, because that is your culture. It make you feel really respectful. However, in the American culture, we don't necessarily use sir and ma'am a lot, especially in an interview, right? And I would rather just say, Jack, how are you doing today, instead of, hey sir Jack, how are you doing today? Sir Jack, to me, it just feel like there's a gap, kind of like I'm calling, like, hey uncle, how are you doing, right? Uncle is my uncle, right? Aunt is my aunt, but Jack is Jack. Am I right? So the feeling is a little bit different. The key with the whole thing is that if you want to really build want a really good client, right? That's kind of client that can be a little bit more flexible with you, right? Really like you, really trust you. The job is for you to turn them to become your friend. Because when you turn a relationship to become a friend, right, everything changes, the dynamic change, right? You talk about, so how do you do that? You ask them about their families, right? Do you like cats, right? What's your hobbies? What's the movies that you like? So that you can find a connection between each other, right? Then you're like, oh, okay, that's good. My cousin, she is really smart. Some of you guys will see her soon here, right? She got a job at a really, very successful big company in California. And we asked her, how did you get that job, right? She said, well, all we did was talking about the fish, because the manager have a fish that was on the back of the wall, right? And all she talked to the guy about is all about the fish, nothing about engineering, nothing about the internship. And she got the job out of like 10 other people that is like top student in the class. None of them got it. She got it. And she said, yeah, I didn't say anything. I just talked about the fish, and the guy liked me, and he just hired me. He said, yeah, I mean, I feel like I can, have really a lot of fun with you this summer, right? When you're working with me. That's all that the client was looking for. However, if you're just like, oh yes, what do you do? You answer. What do you do? You answer, and you don't really try to build that relationship, then we don't feel that connection. Then most likely we are not going to hire you. That's the reason why, if you are interviewing right now and you have done 10, 20, 30, 40 times so far and still haven't get a job, think about it. Were you treating them like a friend? Are you honoring them like a friend? Are you seeing them like a friend? Or you're just seeing them as like an interviewer, right? As a potential client. You need to own the spot, right? You need to build that relationship, because if you build that relationship compared with everybody else, you already win the war. Okay. Regardless of what you know, how you can deliver. Okay. And I love what Sani said. If you're a VA, building relationship should be your norm. Thrive by making good connection to everyone. Absolutely, right? If you're a social media person, what do? You wanted to build relationship through that social media post with the rest of the people. The reason why they communicate with us is because they feel like we are friends already. Am I right? Am I right, Jack?
Totally agree, bros. Totally agree. Now we have to build relationships with our clients. Don't just be like a number on the side. Yeah, don't be isolated. Connect, communicate, express, share wins, share days, share the amazing things, the amazing stories that you have in life, and a lot of things will unlock from there. And best believe, it's gonna be like one of the best things that you can have at work, right? Because it feels like family now. It doesn't feel like it's just like somebody over the counter and like you hand them something and then okay, that's it, it's finished. That's a very dull way to go about things. Even if you're an introvert, there must be a number of ways as to how you can communicate or you can build relationship with the people around you. And when you establish that, when you get to experience that, you would want more of that, most definitely. Because us as human beings, no man truly is an island. No matter if you're the most shy person in the planet, no man is an island, and you would definitely love building relationships with people around you. Just be selective. Okay, that's a given. Yeah, be wise. And if your clients are like really good and go for it, build relationships with them because why not?
Absolutely, absolutely. Agree, totally agree with what Jack have to say, right? And again, like what we talk about, we have already shared with you, right? The top 10, right? The top 10 common sense. So let me repeat that, right? So the first one is always show up on time, because that's the number one way to let your client know that you got their back, right? Number two, it's time blocking. This is the best way for you to communicate with your client that, hey, I don't spend any extra time checking my email, checking my Facebook, playing games. These are what I plan to do today, and this is what I've got done. Number three, right? Micromanaging is a beautiful word, right? It's a great practice because that helps you and your client build that rhythm, build that partnership, and I really understand how you want to work with each other. Number four, right? Treat other people how you want to be treated. I know common sense is not so common, but just think about it. If I don't like something, then don't do it towards your client, right? Number five, always update and keep in touch with your client, rain or shine, because your clients wanted to trust you, right? So give them the thing instead of, like they don't want a babysitter. They don't want to be babysitting you, right? So you're supposed to be babysitting them, by the way. So communicate with them and then let them answer you what you need. Number six, right? Always have backup, right? Internet backup, power backup, right? And obviously, storage backup too, right? Number seven, write down everything. Your brain have does cannot store everything, and after work we want your brain to have a rest. So write down everything black and white on papers, right? Or on your Google Doc, right? So in that way, you can always go back and look at the notes again and again and again. Number eight, the power of follow up, right? It's key that you need to follow up until it is done. As an EA, regardless of what job you're in, right? When there's an open loop, you close the loop. Open loop, close the loop. Open loop, close the loop. Follow up, follow up, follow up until it is completed or your client says stop. Okay. Number nine, celebrate your wins, right? Because we don't know what we don't know. And we need to be reminded that how amazing you are. We're just all human beings. So celebrate your wins so that the universe will also know that you are positive and you are more positive coming to you because you appreciate them, because you speak up about them. And number 10, be the best relationship builder. The reason why so many people love our channel and love us, want to be in our community. Some people say that they have been waiting for 6 months and a year to get into a community because we're the best relationship builder. The people that's in our community, a lot of them become best friends with each other, and now they are just forever grateful with each other, and they build a lot of amazing, beautiful memories with each other. A lot of people that we have now, our kids are hanging out with each other and love each other too, right? So ultimately we wanted to share with you this top 10, and it will be loading down on the description later on to give you the top, I think 21 or 25 that that we have put together. But again, if you don't remember anything, just this top 10, right? This will bring you really far, and this will make you to become a VP, a virtual partner, like what we talk about. And when you become a virtual partner, right, you have your retirement plan already. You have a client, you do not have to seek out anymore. You have a stable stability. Now you can focus on building your family, taking care of your kids, right? Not have to worry about anything about finances, business, future anymore. And that's what a super VA is looking for, and then eventually become a super VP. All right, that's all that I have for you today, and I'm thinking we are almost on the spot at an hour. But again, I love you all so much. I just really wanted to share with you all these knowledge, and so that you do not have to try and error and wonder how come I cannot get a job. It feels like it is so easy, but yet I couldn't get one, because sometimes, again, I appreciate you, common sense is really not so common. That's why I decided that instead of you paying me for this knowledge, or I'll wait till you get into us and then teach you this knowledge, I decided to give all this knowledge to you for free so that you can learn it and get better at it, so that you can be easily become a virtual assistant and live a really happy life and make great money staying at home. Jack, any last words?
Alrighty, guys. So yes, we just shared like top 10 amazing, common sense, cliche things, even maybe, but a lot of people are not using it. That's why common sense is not so common. So please apply it, and make your life way better, by applying these simple disciplines here as well. And guys, we are also going to be giving out like what you call this, like a sheet for you. You may download it, save a copy for yourself, maybe share to your siblings, to your family members, or even other friends working in other VA firms, like struggling, maybe having a hard time, like how can I do this with my client? It's like kind of challenging to communicate, build trust, etc. Yeah, you download the PDF file that we're going to be giving to you guys in the description. And yeah, practice it yourself. Practice makes your norm, and makes your permanent, rather have a better life. And yes, before we ultimately say goodbye, I think our boss, would still say something here. But yeah, I would just like to remember everybody, please don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and also hit that notification bell so you wouldn't miss out anything, on the next episodes and for the past ones, in case you missed the very first two episodes that we've had in our podcast, our live stream.
Yes, again, if you haven't get a job yet or you just become a virtual assistant, I promise you, you get a lot of gold from the last two episodes that we have so far, right? And the future one that we're going to record, right? And again, please, support us by commenting, letting us know what else you need to learn, what else you not understand. Oh, wow, this is an amazing aha moment that we really love it, because that will give us energy to continuously, doing this for you, so that, you can build a better future for yourself. Anyway, I know it is good time right now. It's time for breakfast if you're in Philippines, right? It's time for dinner if you're in United States. We love you all very, very much, and life have never been the same for us. And we appreciate you to attend our call, and I will see you on the next video.